Hello, so for today we will discuss the tax consequence of a fringe benefit under income taxation. Okay, first we have to compare the definition provided by the labor law and the National Internal Revenue Code for fringe benefit. So under the labor law, fringe benefit refers to all other benefits or incentive of an employee other than its basic pay. And the basic pay is the regular fixed salary or wage given to an employee for every payroll period. While our National Internal Revenue Code defines the term fringe benefit as pertains to goods, services, or other benefits furnished by the employer rather to the employee. So if we are to compare the two definitions, the labor law specifically stated that fringe benefit refers to any benefits or incentive given in addition to the basic fixed pay of an employee. While the National Internal Revenue Code specifically defines fringe benefit as any goods, services, and other benefits given by an employer to an employee. So, most almost the same naman sila sa pag-specify that yung fringe benefits is an addition to the regular fixed pay of an employee. Now, let's proceed to the tax treatments of a fringe benefit. So, under our tax rules, the fringe benefits are treated differently depending on their nature. Like in the case of a fixed benefits that is given every payroll period is considered a regular compensation. While if the benefit of or the fringe benefit is variable and is given based on performance, then it is considered as a supplemental compensation. And of course, if they are considered as a regular and supplemental compensation, then it is both subject to income tax. While if fringe benefit is given in the form of incentives, then it will be considered as a 13-month pay and other benefit, which is, ang treatment natin doon is exempt up to 90,000. However, if a fringe benefit is furnished under the concept of employer's convenience or employment necessity, then the said benefit is not taxable or it is exempt from tax. Please take note that if a fringe benefit included, if it is not classifiable as part of your compensation income and it is not exempted under the law, then ang treatment sa kanila is depende sa nature, no? For if the fringe benefit is given to the rank and file employee, then it is considered as other benefits or 13-month pay and other benefits that is exempt up to 90,000 pesos. While if yung other benefit is given to managerial and supervisory employees, then the said French benefit is subject to final tax, which is the French benefit tax. Okay, so this is our topic for this um, explainer video. The general categories of a French benefit subject to French benefit tax. So first, we have management prerequisite benefits. So what do you mean by prerequisite benefits? These are called the management perks and are highly privileged incentive given to a special group of employee lang. So, hindi lahat binibigyan. So, para maging French benefit siya. So, yung benefit dapat ay binibigay lang sa special special group of employees. And then, number 2, employee personal expenses shouldered by the employer. So, this refers to the personal expenses of the expenses or expenditure by the employee which is assumed or paid by the employer without in default of the approximate business necessity concept. So, of course, kasi sinabi natin kapag it is business necessity, then walang benefit si employee. So, dapat hindi for the convenience of the employer dapat. Pag-shoulder ng company ng personal expenses ng employee para maging French benefit siya. And then, of course, meron din tayong tinatawag na taxable de minimis benefit. So, first dito is yung excess ng de minimis benefits dun sa specified limit. So, magiging taxable na siya. Pero if it is given to rank and file, sabi natin kanina, then it is part of ng kanyang 13-month pay and other benefit. And then, again, let me emphasize the treatment of a French benefit. So if a French benefit that is not considered as a compensation income or that is not classifiable as compensation income, and if a French benefit is not exempted, so ang two treatments natin dito ay if it is given to rank and file employee, then it will be part of other benefits and 13-month pay, which is exempt up to 90,000. However, if a benefit is given to a managerial or supervisory employee, then they are subject to French benefit tax if yung benefits, ulitin natin, is not considered as part of the compensation income. So let's remember that we have three types of employee. First is the managerial, the supervisory, and ang last is yung rank and file. So sabi natin if yung benefit is given to a rank and file, then treatment is If it is not classifiable as part of his compensation income, then it will be included as part of the 13-month pay and other benefit. No? So, ang benefit na binibigay sa rank and file is not subject to French benefit tax. However, if the benefit is given to a supervisory or managerial level employee, then the said benefit, if not part of his compensation income and it is not exempt as well, it will be called French benefit subject to French benefit tax, which is yung topic natin for today. So only, let me emphasize, only the French benefit given to supervisory and supervisory and managerial employee are subject to French benefit tax. Kasi so yung sa rank and file is not subject to French benefit tax. So let's proceed to hybrid expenses. Ano ba yung sinasabing hybrid expenses? So ito yung expenses which is purportedly part of business and partly for the employees' incentive. So ang rule natin dyan is only 50% of the expense representing the employee incentive is subject to French benefit tax. So yan yung ating 50% rule. Kasi nga hybrid naman. Hindi solely yung business, hindi solely yung employee ang nag-benefit dun sa expense. Kaya tinawag na hybrid. So since dalawa sila, then ang isa subject lang natin, just in case na subject nga ng French benefit tax is only yung 50%. Example, housing benefits given to an employee in the form of rental accommodation. Another is yung allowing the employee freely to use business property. So mayroong business property, nasa property ng business yon and then ipinagamit sa employee, then since hindi naman sa employee yon, then considered siya as hybrid expenses sa property kasi ng business. O kaya naman, renenta lang yung renentahan lang yung property ng business and then pinagamit sa employees. So it is considered as hybrid expenses. So there are 6 items that are exempt from French benefit tax. So number 1 is those that are authorized and exempt under a special law. So wala tayong magagawa doon. May special law na nagsasabing exempted siya sa tax. Then therefore, hindi natin siya isa-subject to French benefit tax. Number 2, benefits required by the nature or necessity of the trade of business or profession of the employer. So, sabi kasi natin, ang concept kasi doon, wala talagang benefit ang employee. So, therefore, hindi dapat isa-subject yung benefit ng French benefit tax. Kasi nga, yung benefit is given for the convenience of the employer, hindi talaga sa employee. So, walang benefit sa employee, therefore, hindi siya isa-subject to French benefit tax. Number 3, benefits given or for the convenience or advantage of the employer. So, palihas lang ng number 2. Wala ding benefits na na-derive yung employee, so therefore hindi siya subject to French benefit tax. So, binigay lang yung benefit dahil sa advantage ng employer or ng company. So, for example, nun is yung housing benefits na binigay, and then yung house is located sa company premises o kaya na within 50 meters from the company. So, kaya ibinigay yun kasi nga para madaling makontact yung employee just in case na kailangan siya. So pag ganun yung setup ng benefits na binigay, walang marirealize na benefits talaga yung employee kasi sa convenience ng employer. Number 4, contribution of the employer to the benefit of the employee, retirement, insurance, and hospitalization benefit plan. So, exempt din yon sa ating benefit, just in case na mayroong ganong benefit plans. Number 5, benefit given to rank and file, whether or not granted under a collective bargaining agreement. So, sabi nga natin kanina, yung benefits binigay sa rank and file, hindi siya fringe benefit kasi kasi ang treatment is kung hindi man kasali sa kanyang compensation, then it is part of other benefits. And number 6 is yung last natin, yung de minimis benefits, which is na-discuss na natin last time. May mga limits doon, discuss natin isa-isa yung limits, and once na nag-exceed ka dun sa limit, hindi na siya magiging exempt, magiging taxable na yung excess. So, ang exempt lang sa de minimis benefits is hanggang doon sa limits. No? So, pakitandaan niyo lang yung mga limits. Before we discuss yung characteristic of fringe benefit, alamin muna natin what is a fringe benefit tax. So, what is a fringe benefit tax? So, it is a final tax imposed on the fringe benefit furnished, granted, or paid by the employer to the employee except sa rank and file. So, sabi nga natin kanina, ang fringe benefit tax ay applicable lang para sa mga fringe benefit na binigay sa managerial and supervisory level of employee. So, ano-ano ba yung mga possible fringe benefit pwedeng ibigay sa mga employee? So, ito yon. And once na binigay sa employee at yung employee manager or supervisor, then pwede siyang masubject to fringe benefit tax. So, una is housing benefits, bahay. Number 2 is expense account. Ito yung mga expenses ng employee na i-shoulder ng company or ng employer. Motor vehicles of any kind, pag nagbigay ng sasakyan. Household personnel expenses such as yung sweldo ng maid, driver, etc. etc. Kung ano pa ang mga kasama sa bahay. Number 5 is yung interest for the difference between the market rate, which is 12%, at the actual interest granted. So, usually kapag nagpapaloan kasi ang employer sa employee, it is given at a much lower rate. So, mas mababa yung rate talaga. Minsan may nagbibigay ng 2%, minsan nagbibigay ng 1%, 3%, or pinakamataas yata sa alam ko lang 5% ang binigay ng employer sa employee. So, considered yun na may benefit ang employee kasi masyadong mababa yung interest rate. So, yung difference ng market rate, which is 12%, at saka yung binigay na rate, kung 2% man yan, so magkakaroon ng 10% na excess. So, yung 10% na yun, na interest, yung 10% doon sa interest, it will be considered as fringe benefit na na-receive ng employee galing sa employer. Membership, dues, and other expenses borne by the employer for the employees, such as yung house association membership, di ba? O kaya golf club membership, sa gym, di ba? Na halimbawa member yung employee, sinolder ni company. Ganun ang mga membership niya. Pwede pang mag-member halimbawa sa SNR o mag-member nag-member si employee pero sino-shoulder ng company or ni employer. So, yun yung tinatawag natin membership fees, dues, and other expenses. Number 7 is expenses for foreign travel. Pag nagkaroon ng foreign trip, shinolder ni employer, then it is considered as fringe benefit. Holiday and vacation expenses. So, pwede siyang pagbakasyonin and then shouldered by the company. Educational assistance given to employee and his dependents. So, dependents, kung pinag-aral ng company yung mga dependents ni employee, then it is considered as fringe benefit. Number 10, life or health insurance and other non-life insurance or similar accounts in excess to what the law allows. So, yun yung ating mga sample fringe benefit na pwedeng ibigay ng company sa employee. So, let's proceed na sa characteristic of a fringe benefit tax. So, number 1, it is final tax. So, ano ibig sabihin ng it is final? Final na. Walang kailangan nang gawin yung employee just in case na yung fringe benefit ay just in case na yung kanyang fringe benefit ay subject to fringe benefit tax. Actually, wala naman talaga siyang kailangang gawin kasi is withheld at source. So, bago pa ibigay yung kanyang fringe benefits, nabawas na yung tax. Binawas na kagad. Hindi mo panahawakan yung fringe benefit mo, yung additional benefit na binigay, then deduct na kagad. Tax upon the fringe benefit is for managerial or supervisory level of employee. So, yun lang. So, para ma-consider yan as fringe benefit at subject to fringe benefit tax, dapat ibinigay sa manager or sa supervisor. Yan. Number 3 is paid by the employer. So, ang magso-shoulder ng fringe benefit tax is yung employer. Diba? So, wala talagang gagawin yung employee. Enjoy lang niya yung benefit. Number 4, gross up tax. Okay, so ano yung gross up? Mamaya, i-discuss natin ito sa procedure. Yung gross up is yun yung tax base natin. Ang gross up is simply yung monetary value ng benefit, i-divide mo lang ng factor. At yung factor, ang formula nun is 1 minus tax rate lang naman. So, doon natin makukuha yung factor. No? And it is due quarterly. So, quarterly ang payment ng fringe benefit tax. At ang kailangan mong i-fill out na form ay BIR form 1603Q kasi nga quarterly. Okay, so let's proceed sa procedure in computing the fringe benefit tax. So first, number 1 step is to determine the monetary value of the fringe benefit. So what is the monetary value? It is it refers to the taxable amount of the fringe benefit taken home or realized by the managerial or kaya supervisory level of employee. Monetary value is presumed net of final tax. So mayroon tayong rule mamaya kung paano i-compute yung i-determine rather yung monetary value. Pero in most cases kung magkano yung benefit na binigay, yun na yung amount. For example, magkano yung sa expense account, for example, yung may made yung manager o kaya supervisor na ang sweldo ay 10,000 at shinolder ng company, ang monetary value nun ay 10,000, di ba? So, except in cases such as yung usually, mas lalo na sa housing at saka sa motor vehicle o kaya sa rented property na pinagamit sa employee, dun lang tayo roon ng rules sa determination ng monetary value. So, determination of the monetary value, gusto ko lang i-emphasize, in most cases, kung magkano yung benefit na na-receive ng employee, yun yung monetary value, except kung sa mga items like yung sa housing, depende pa sa case, tapos sa motor vehicle, depende rin sa case, kung saan may rules kasi tayo sa determination ng specific monetary value ng benefits, fresh benefits na yon. Okay, number 2, determine the gross up rate and French benefit tax. So, madali lang naman yung pag-gross up. So, una, for example, na-compute mo na yung monetary value. So, i-divide mo lang ng factor. I-divide mo lang ng factor. So, paano makuha yung factor? Ang formula ng factor is 1 minus tax rate or 100% minus yung tax rate. So, ang tax rates lang naman natin sa French benefit, it's either 35% o kaya 25%. So, 100%, kapag yung sa 35, 100% minus 35 rate, ang factor natin ay 65. Kung doon sa 25%, na tax rate naman, ang factor natin is 100 minus 25%, ang factor natin is 75%. So, gagamitin natin yung factor sa pag-determine ng gross up monetary value. So, for example, sa step number 1, ang nakuha nating amount ay 100,000. Paano i-compute yung gross up monetary value? I-divide lang natin ng factor. Alamin lang natin kung 35 or 25% yung tax rate, then i-divide natin siya ng 65 or 75%, depende sa tax rate. So, once na na-divide mo na yung amount ng monetary value, mayroon ka ng gross up monetary value, yun na yung ating tax base. So, yun na yung ating tax base. And then, pag alam mo na yung ating tax base, multiply mo na lang siya ng ating tax rate, which is 25 or 35% as the case may be, then yun na yung ating French benefit tax. Oh, as mentioned kanina, in general, sabihin natin, in most cases, sa mga French benefits natin, yung monetary amount or yung value ng French benefit is yun na rin yung gross up monetary value. However, in some cases, sabi natin, mayroon tayong rules kung paano i-compute yung monetary value ng French benefit. So, let's go over yung sa rules na. So, we have 3 rules sa computation ng monetary value. So, number 1, benefit is paid in cash. So, if the benefit daw is given in cash, so for example, binigyan ka ng 1 million, bumili ka ng sasakyan, bumili ka ng bahay, etc., etc., then, yung monetary value ng said French benefit is yung amount na na-receive in cash ng employee kasi yun yung kanyang extent ng benefit. So, yung monetary value niya is 1 million. So, ano mo i-compute yung French benefit tax niya? So, i-divide mo lang ng factor. Again, yung factor natin is either 65 or 75%. Depende sa tax rate na 35 at saka 25. Then, yun yung gross up monetary value niya. Then, multiply natin ng tax rate na 25 or 35 as the case may be, then yun na yung kanyang French benefit tax. Okay, so let's proceed sa rule number 2. What if ang benefits ay binayaran in kind? So, it's given in kind. Yung benefits it is given in kind. The monetary value is the fair value of the thing given unless its book value is higher. So, halimbawa, ang binigay ay kotse. So, magkano yung monetary value niyan? Ang monetary value niya daw is yung fair value niya. So, magkano ba yung fair value ng car? So, the only reason na hindi pwedeng maging monetary value yung fair value ng item given is mas mataas yung kanyang book value. So, what is book value? So, book value is cost less accumulated depreciation. So, alam niyo na yan, no? Next, rule number 3 natin, for the benefits that are furnished. Ano ibig sabihin nun? When the benefit is given in the form of free use of employers' property, employers or business property, like for example, mayroon ng mga apartments, yung business, mayroon na silang car, etc., etc., and then gamit yung existing property na yun ng employer or ng employee. So, paano yung computation natin ng monetary value? So, ito yon. Ito yung ating rule. The monetary value is 50% of the rental value. So, alamin mo kung may rental value yung property na provide. So, kapag alam mo yung rental value, sabi natin kanina, kapag nirerentahan yung car o kaya yung place, yung apartment, yung house, then it is considered as 50% hybrid. Yung sabi natin kanina, yung hybrid, no? So, ang monetary value ng benefit is 50%. However, if yung rental value is hindi available, so hindi mo pwedeng magamit yung 50%, no? Kasi hindi mo alam kung magkano yung rental value ng property. So, ang gagamitin natin, kung hindi available yung rental value, gamitin natin yung depreciation value. So, for real properties daw, ang depreciation value niya is 20 years. So, therefore, 1 divided by 20 is 5%. So, ang monetary value niya is 5%. Kapag real property yan at hindi available yung kanyang rental value, then ang monetary value ng said benefit is 5% of the property. Pero kapag yan ay hindi real property, movable siya, so ang depreciation value niya is 5 years. Tulad ng car, di ba? Movable siya. So, instead na 20 years, ang gagamitin mo ay 5 years. So, 1, para makuha yung kanyang depreciation value, 1 divided by 5, 20%. So, ang monetary value is 20% of the value of the property. So, as mentioned kanina, meron tayong dalawang tax rates. That is yung 35% for resident and citizen. Pero para sa mga non-resident alien, it is 25%. So, ulitin natin. For residents and citizen, we have 35% ang kanilang tax rates, and para sa mga non-resident aliens, 25%. So, accordingly, ang kanilang factor ay 65 and 75%. No? So, ulitin lang natin ulit. Paano yung procedure ng pag-compute ng French benefit tax? So, first, you have to determine yung monetary value based dun sa rules na di-discuss natin kanina. Then, pag alam mo na yung monetary value, i-divide mo lang ng factor yung monetary value, and then, to come up with your gross up monetary value, saka mo i-multiply ng tax rate kasi yun yung ating tax base, yung gross up monetary value, and then yun na yung French benefit tax to be shouldered by the employer.